Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Solio Analytics podcast. I have two thank yous to give before I start this one, which is firstly to you, Johnny, for doing the solo video last week while I was away. And the second one, I love this thumbnail. Like Alex Volo, he does
He's great.
he does these thumbnails for us. And it was one of those weeks, and I feel like, for me, I've had like 22 of them, but it was one of those weeks where just nothing was working out. Like, Man City, you expect them to do better against Man United. They got 1-pointers all round. Well, Haaland got 2. Then you expect, there was this thing around the bottom 5 teams together conceded 2 goals on the weekend. So
I hadn't spotted
essentially, there were no points, FPL points. So it was one of those weeks, and I gave Alex this challenge of, I want this gif of where points, and he came up with this thumbnail. So thank you, Alex. And now we can start.
Thank you, Pras, for coming back. How was your trip away?
It was good. Work trip. I was first in Istanbul for some meetings, and then we went skiing as a company thing. So I was in the French Alps.
You posted a photo, and I think you said, "I don't have any points, but ask me if I care."
That was on our other Discord. It wasn't public.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah. But you're like, Praz is having a good time. No one's got any points, but Praz is skiing, so he's happy.
There's something about making a transfer when you're like not sitting on your couch.
Yes.
Because I was meant to do only one transfer, which was, I've even forgotten now.
What
I
did
got
you do?
Enzo in. Cunha for Enzo. So I got Enzo in. So that was a transfer that worked in. And then I was like, with Man City, I don't know if Nico Riley is going to start, if Foden's going to start. So I was like, I have no bench because I had Keane, I had Potts, and I had Obi, right? So I'm like playing so badly this year that I had zero bench.
And Potts didn't even play this week.
Potts doesn't play now. Obi doesn't play. Keane got suspended. So I was like, I'm going to get screwed here if there's even one benching. And with Man City, like all this uncertainty, there was, some stuff around Foden being ill or whatever. There was just things flying around. I was like, I need a bench cover. So I do Keane to Anderson last minute as my first sub, which I didn't even end up using. So it's like I used 2 free transfers for...
Oh, you did Keane to Joachim Anderson and put Anderson first bench?
First sub.
Okay, so proper like I'm buying a first bench player.
But I also felt Anderson is somebody who I will need for sure, like for the run-in if I wildcard late. But it wasn't very smart if I wildcard early because I've just used up a transfer for something I didn't need to do, and that would be a transfer.
But yes, maybe we'll try. Maybe we'll try and hold the wildcard then. Let's see.
As it turns out, Enzo was my only return in the attack, so I'm working hard for my points. I'm working hard.
I don't think I had Bruno Fernandes, who I bought in, who got a return.
That was a good move, yeah.
I think that was the only one as well. I had double Arsenal clean sheet, and I got Mukiele got an assist, and Defcon.
Yeah. And we both got the Szoboszlai.
So those are the only points. Szoboszlai pen miss. He scored tonight.
Of course.
Champions League, obviously. We scored FA Cup. Then he missed a pen in the Premier League, and then he scored in the Champions League. So if you're an FPL manager, that's not ideal.
Van Dijk keeps a clean sheet.
Oh, he does.
Gordon scores for people who went Gordon. It's just one of those seasons. And I don't want to belittle the season. Like, people who are doing well because they're playing well, and obviously getting the rub of the green. But it's just one of those seasons where, it's harder. Like Liverpool have now played Burnley, Wolves, and Leeds in the last 3, and Ekitike blanked in all 3.
Yes.
And Rob did this excellent graphic on what were the odds of him blanking in all 3, and it was like 10% or something.
16% of the time he scores none of the time. But also that means that that's just what we might expect to happen. It's not going to happen every time, but it's going to happen sometimes.
It's happening a lot to me, Johnny.
It is happening a lot.
I'm not going to complain.
Feel like
I'm not going to complain.
It happens every time.
No, but especially Ekitike owners, right? Because they lost out points to Thiago. So even though Thiago and Ekitike both blanked, it felt like we lost again.
I'm trying to make a big gain, and not only has it not come off, I've gone backwards. Because then he's an injury, and I've got to move the funds around again, and he's back and he's playing well again, and Isak's still not back.
He almost scored tonight. He did. It was ruled off.
Offside goal.
He almost assisted to Salah. So look, Ekitike is fine. We'll talk about teams and stuff.
We'll get there,
that takes me into the agenda. So we're first going to talk about a few cool new features on Solio, like we always do, and this one is good. I just saw the preview; it's good. So that's the first thing. The second thing is we're going to talk about Double Game Week 26. There were some fixture announcements today. Unfortunately, nothing yet, but should we give up or should we still think that there's a Double Game Week 26 coming up? So we'll just do a refresher there. And then we're going to talk about 5 teams that are on the top of people's minds. There is Liverpool, and that's maybe for the wrong reasons. Maybe they're looking to sell, but Salah is back, so we'll talk about that. We'll talk about Man City. Man City are definitely on people's minds because they've lost to the mighty Manchester United over the weekend, and they lost to the mighty Norwegian side.
Yes.
Bodo Glimt, right?
Bodo Glimt.
So,
yeah, and they're facing the mighty Wolves next.
They're facing the mighty Wolves at home.
Yep.
And Wolves are like, people are quoting best defense in the last 6 game weeks. I'm joking, but also not joking. That is true. Then we'll talk about Arsenal. Saka doesn't seem to be starting in the Premier League, or where his minutes are not the same. Who else are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about Chelsea. Palmer keeps missing out on the squads when it's not the Premier League, but then puts out a 90 minutes in the Premier League.
Almost doing the reverse, yeah. But then
the reverse
we
Saka.
play Fantasy Premier League, so maybe that's fine.
Exactly. And who's the 5th team we wanted to talk about? Arsenal. Oh, Man United. How can I forget?
The best team in the world.
The Carrick ball. So we will talk about some minutes adjustments and do we want anybody else apart from Bruno? So that's the agenda. We'll talk about wildcards. A lot of people are on the brink, including myself, and they're thinking, shall we play it? Shall we wait? So the closer we get to the date, which is wildcard 24, you start to look backwards and say, why not 23? If my team looks bad in 23, why not 23? So it's stuff like that. We'll talk about that. We'll look at a couple of drafts for wildcard 23, and then we will look at our teams. So how's that as the agenda?
That sounds good. Should we get stuck into it?
Let's get
so
going.
I'll get started with it's sort of a slight feature showcase and a slight kind of just like explanation of some of the changes that we're making at Solio. So this will be something that'll be coming at the latest next week, probably early next week, maybe not by the Game Week 23 deadline. But we're always trying to make things more usable for people. Like we're trying to bring all this sort of power to everyone, analytics for everybody. So sure, we're encompassing the diehard users who are setting up their own optimization solvers and writing Python code and such. We want to give them some cool tools, but we want everyone to be able to use those kind of things as well. So essentially what we're doing is we're kind of redesigning the settings tab. So actually a lot of these settings are things that you are using already if you're a Solio user, or if you're not, come along, try it out. This should be easier to use for you than the people who were trying it before. So we're changing settings into a sort of optimization tab. So you can actually stylistically change a few presets, but also you can save a few presets. So if you want to go, okay, just give me a high risk, I need to chase some players in my mini league, and I don't know how to tinker all the settings myself. Just give me a sort of high risk preset. You can do the opposite. I'm defending a mini league. Give me a low risk preset, and we'll tinker them for you. You can set a few of those off. And tailor to your risk appetite, tailor to your outcomes that you're sort of looking for. So you can load them in one click rather than having to tinker around. If you want to tinker around with all the dials as well, you want to get really stuck in and go, I want risk preference at 20 and 25 rather than just preset medium or high, then you can do that as well. But this also allows you to set off, so it's all the settings you had before, just a kind of revamp of where they are in the tool, which allows you to set off and sort of compare these plans in a table a bit more like this. I appreciate for the audio listeners this isn't perfect, but we'll go through it. So you can set off, what's a low risk, what's a safe one, kind of generate a few different ideas and compare them a bit more rather than this kind of pure points maximization, because actually you can be too greedy with that. You can schedule lots of transfers that might gain points, but actually that plan's not always going to come off. It's got a high risk of going wrong. As well, you can also sort of compare them as a distribution, so you can kind of more deeply understand what is it that this plan does for me and what might I want from a plan if I'm trying to maximize a certain thing in terms of expanding your risk distribution, your relative outcome distribution. And also, this is one that we're quite excited about, is the outcome distribution scatter plot, or as we've been talking about on the free hit solves in previous episodes, the free hit frontier blob. So essentially you can build out a scatter plot of like, okay, these are the plans that are the most giving me the most deviation from other managers, and this is sort of the safest one. But also maybe if I have an optimistic and a safe version, okay, so this one is quite safe in terms of it's not scheduling many transfers in, it's less likely to go wrong, I've got more room to build things out. Whereas an optimistic one, sure, it might project more points, but if this player gets injured, you have to pivot away and you get a bit stuck. So with this change, we're hoping that people can make changes to their plans more easily, and it also builds a good foundation. We've got a few new ideas for features coming later on in the season, so this will help us build those in. So essentially, that's the change. New optimization tab available to use for everyone. You can try it yourself at fpl.soloanalytics.com. We'll put the link in the description as well. And if you've got any questions, I'll put the link to our Discord as well. We're always on there trying to answer people's questions and chat FPL as well. But that's essentially what we're looking at. So as I said, new settings tab, more personalization, more customization, more sort of one-click features to help you along if you're a new user. And yeah, that's everything. What do you think, Pras? Excited?
Excellent. I love it. So let's go back if you can, and I'm going to start from the setup. So so this is, on the right-hand tab for people who are new or relatively newish users. So when you see the team and your lineups, it's basically just on the right of that. You used to see settings there. Now you'll see optimize, and then within optimize, there's two tabs: setup and results. So let's first talk about setup. So within setup, what I really like is now it's easy to understand, right? What is high risk versus what is the weather on, do I need to, will I expect a lot of disruption or not? So you've sort of presented here 5. You can also customize, I suppose, that you say I want high risk, no disruption, or high risk, high disruption. Although why would you want to do that? But still, you can do all of that. You can look at your banned players. So nothing has been left off. It's just a different way to show it.
Yes.
Now go to results.
Because just one thing to add as well. What you can also now do is you can set your risk preference and your disruption probability preference at like a user level. So I can say like, when I solve normally, use a 20% risk and 40% disruption, or minus 20% risk or whatever. So you can set it at the user level, whereas before we were letting you only set it at the kind of plan or node level. So now you can build the two apart. So hopefully a bit more powerful.
So if you go to results now, so do I understand this correctly? Because I'm seeing the results for all the 5 scenarios. So every time I will solve, I can come back here and I can see that under all these scenarios, what are the potential transfers that it would make? Yeah,
so it's when you currently do it now, I'll actually just switch over to the current view. Although I'll be slightly giving away the wildcard for later. But if I run a few solves here and I just stack them on top, I can set a few off and these stack up here. So essentially it's kind of putting all of those in a table. So rather than clicking, show me this one, I can more easily go through and go, okay, like compare those in the table, give me more info rather than seeing one at a time, if that makes more sense. So you don't have to set loads off. You could set one off and just sort of see what it says. But we've got our distribution of outcomes. We've got a few more metrics on, transfers, decisions, what you had your settings with the risk and the disruption. But if you want to set a varied range of them off, go, okay, like find me. You might find that if you set off a high risk, a low risk, a safe, a default, and an optimistic, they might all come back with the same move because this might be one move that's just way better. And then you go, okay, right, quite clearly this is a very good move. But also it gives you a few more options. So you might go, okay, like
that's what I like. Yeah.
If I want to go this way, I want to go that way. These are all good moves, but they're giving you different things rather than like this kind of one answer. Which happens when there's a very obvious answer to make. Sometimes, you can fight too hard against those, but generally you do have a lot of options. So actually it's kind of finding those options and showing you this will take you down this type
ultimately,
of path.
The question we're trying to answer is, are you following what the model is telling you? This is saying no. The model is telling you there's 5 different things you can do depending on what is your risk appetite. And we haven't even gotten into the layers of, you can adjust the inputs as well with minutes and everything else. So we're not going to repeat it. But even within the framework, let's say you just believe everything as default. Even within that, there's not just one move. Not every week anyway. There will be options. So I think I really like that from that perspective, where people can then look at this, and obviously these are examples, right? But they could say, oh, I shouldn't do Lacroix to a Man City defender. I should do Lacroix to a Sunderland defender. Both are good because the path that maybe going down to a Sunderland defender lets me get somebody more expensive later. So ultimately it might be higher risk because I don't have Man City defensive cover, but I may make the points by having an Mbumo instead of a Rodgers.
Yeah,
So
you've
just
made
an
up
example.
a bit more money. You can even the next week go to the City defender later, that kind of thing.
Exactly.
Yeah, and a bit more sort of on like allowing you to compare these plans a bit better. So we do have a lot of these charts in the tool at the moment, but we haven't like overlaid them together. So actually, sometimes comparing the distribution charts, like they kind of look quite similar, but actually one of them's a little bit wider, a little bit flatter. So a little bit easier to kind of visualize everything that you can do with the tool.
So last question on the blob, the famous blob. So
rebranded.
This blob is for your own team, right? So this is not to be confused with the free hit blob, which is not the ideal team for that week.
We used the free hit frontier. We used the frontiers as sort of outcome distribution scatter plot. We were using them for the free hit, but it exists as a concept for a 12-week horizon, be that a wildcard solve or just a normal solve. It's the same concept. It's adding all 12 of those weeks together and the amount of risk you get in all 12 of the weeks. So actually, there might be a path that the move this week doesn't look particularly risky, but it sets you off on a path that allows you to then dodge a popular captaincy later on and build up the risk over 12 weeks. Whereas actually the one that grabs risk this week then means you have to follow the kind of safer path afterwards, in which case the plan itself is giving you less relative risk. So it's kind of, it's the same concept. It's just for your team over whatever horizon you've solved for.
So, but just
you
help
could build
me
the free
read
hit
this.
one if you wanted to.
Yeah, but I'm trying to read this in a very simple way. So if I look at the green ball, what this is telling me is that as opposed to the purple one or the orange one, I should not even consider the green one because I'm taking higher risk but getting lower difference to the mean, right? So if I'm getting that as one of the options, I should think harder about it because ultimately it is one of the paths, but you should probably be thinking about the purple or the orange more.
Probably, but then you might have your own goal where actually, like, let's say this is game week 35 and you're first in the world, then actually you do want the safer one that is projecting very slightly less points, because that's going to suit your rank goal objective more. So yeah, it's to give you an idea of like, okay, if I want to really start covering players off, then how many points am I actually potentially foregoing for that?
So the y-axis isn't points, it's actually difference to the mean. Okay, I understand it. So it's not like you'll get lower points with higher risk. It's just that you have a lower... lower difference to the mean is trying to say
it's just relative points. So it's as if your projected points, but it's subtracting what everyone else has got. So how many points are you putting on the field?
So then in that case,
in all intents
even
and
in Gameweek 37,
points.
Why wouldn't you pick the orange one where the difference is higher but your risk is lower?
So the orange one is the optimistic one, which in Gameweek 37 makes sense because you've only got 2 weeks. Whereas right now, the optimistic one is the one that has like a lower disruption probability. So you're saying it's less likely
there could be disruption.
Yeah, so you're saying like grab, maybe there's some EV to grab this week and you've got 5 transfers. An optimistic one might use all 5 right now and leave you with 1 transfer next week. But if a few players get injured or the double goes somewhere different, then you're stuck. So sure, you grabbed points now, but it's optimistic in that sense. And the safe one is the one that goes, okay, like lots might change. So yes, I'd say like right at the end of the season, you can be optimistic, especially in Game Week 38.
Yeah.
Nothing coming afterwards. So it's building out that kind of like, okay, how much do I want to value a transfer? How much do I want to value rolling versus how much do I want to try and build out my relative risk to the field? So I want, I'm chasing ranks. I want to be further over to the right, but I want to be, still generating points up higher. But then there's that other layer of like, is this a greedy transfer path or is it something that's more robust to things going wrong? Which is what the optimistic safe is. But then that would be I suppose you could build out a third dimension to the scatter plot in terms of disruption probability and robustness as the score, but we're getting quite complicated there. We'll see. Maybe at some point. Basically, there's lots more to compare in a plan than this one says 143 and this one says 142.8. Therefore, the 143 one is better. Is essentially what we're trying to say.
Love it.
Let people compare them. So that's the plan.
Excellent. So that's that. Let's go to the next point in our agenda, which is Double Game Week 26. So there were some announcements, and in fact, was it the Arsenal website or actually the Premier League one? They even have actually literally said that if Arsenal are in the Carabao Cup, then Game Week 31 fixture will be moved.
Yes.
But nobody has said move to when.
Yes, I think, I don't know if we got this specific equivalent announcement last year, but what we did get last year is that Liverpool were guaranteed top 8 in the Champions League after match day 7, which Arsenal are. So Liverpool last year are Arsenal this year. But last year Spurs had not guaranteed top 8 in the Europa League until the final match day. So Spurs and I think Arsenal as well. Spurs and Arsenal of last year are Newcastle and Chelsea of this year. That makes sense. It's complicated.
Yeah, you didn't confuse anyone.
No, these are the teams that basically last year we had the same thing where we had one of the potential blank teams had definitely got top 8. Therefore, they had the playoffs midweeks free for this game week 26. We think for Arsenal. But the other ones that might make the final and cause the blank, there's still a chance Newcastle or Chelsea overturn. They're quite unlikely to at the minute. But those haven't confirmed top 8. So last year they waited until Spurs had confirmed top 8, which they did get, and then they made the provisional announcement. So I think the fact that they haven't announced where Arsenal's would go now shouldn't affect our estimation of how likely it is to come forward, because they're probably waiting for match day 8, which is next midweek. So if Newcastle and Chelsea both come top 8 as well, then they can announce provisional announcements for Everton, Chelsea, Newcastle, Sunderland, and Wolves, Arsenal, in terms of which ones would come forward to 26. They might decide that they don't need to come forward. They might announce them to go elsewhere, but they can wait and see and announce them all together. Whereas if Newcastle and Chelsea don't come top 8, or one of them does and one of them doesn't, then they can announce Wolves, Arsenal as the provisional one coming forward, and that's it. Or Wolves, Arsenal and Newcastle, Sunderland, but not Everton, Chelsea, or whichever combo. So I think we should be expecting it next week if it's going to come. If we get to next Friday, Saturday, and we haven't heard anything in terms of a provisional, if this clashes in 31, it should come forward to, they don't always use the FPL Gameweeks like we do, but Game Week 31 coming forward to 26, then that's, or 27 even, Wolves, Arsenal doesn't fit there for other reasons, then I think that's when we should start expecting, okay, the chances of it coming to 26 are much reduced. And it's actually more likely that it does go back to 33 or wherever it might go. Wherever the other ones would go, obviously, because we know City, Palace can't come forwards, so that's going to have to go somewhere. So if Wolves, Arsenal doesn't come forward, it's not like it doesn't fit anywhere. It's just that we think that they'll bring them forward because they did last year. But yes, no official announcement yet. So another good reason why waiting for information for next week is important, if you can, because we should hopefully have a provisional announcement on where they go. They probably won't announce where the ones that wouldn't come to 26 will go. We had that last year where Newcastle Palace didn't have Europe, and they announced it in
so they
later.
won't announce that.
So we won't know where.
And everybody thought it'll go to 33, and it went to 32 randomly.
32, yeah. I think I tried to compute all the possible combinations at that point, and then I'd got like thousands of them, and they were all wrong, and I was like, oh, never mind.
As it
Throws
does
a
happen.
curveball. So yes,
but
we don't know.
There's one more thing there, which is Chelsea are top 8 now as well.
Yeah.
So their game against Napoli next week is going to be critical, and if they do win that, then Chelsea are top 8 as well. So they could have an announcement on whoever wins.
Yes,
a provisional announcement.
So yeah, that would mean that we'd have a guaranteed double game week. Even in the chance that I think Chelsea are about 10% likely in the markets to overturn the deficit, because we could get a Newcastle Sunderland double game week as well. Newcastle are now top 8.
Oh, it's Newcastle. Newcastle fan
it's actually PSG lost, Man City lost. I think Atletico Madrid drew with who was Galatasaray. So there were and Newcastle and Chelsea both won. So there were a few results that kind of went the way of potentially others top 8. Whereas before this round, Newcastle were maybe like 5 to 10% to come top 8. They do have PSG next week, so it'll still be tough. And Chelsea, I think, were like 30%. But those could both be, pushing 50%. So we'll see. So we might get a bigger double game week than we thought. Or, as you said, we might have a confirmed there is definitely a double game week because Arsenal or Chelsea, one of them has to make the final. Yeah. So yes, I'd say tonight's Champions League results are probably something that make you think I definitely need to wait, because we'd kind of assumed just Wolves Arsenal 26 is the most likely outcome, but the other less likely outcomes that are impactful have now become more likely, even though they're still not as likely as the likeliest outcome is still Wolves Arsenal 26 and nothing else.
Correct.
But we'll see.
Excellent. So that's the summary. So nothing much has changed. It could still come, or likely to still come. In fact, where are we putting Arsenal, Wolves? 70% still? Around 70%?
Yeah, I mean, like the ceiling is 90% because they're about 90% to go through against Chelsea. So if you think that,
and they're still in the FA Cup, so they would have to be proactive.
So
right?
Proactivity plus what they did last year plus whatever, if you put like a 75-80% on that, then you get to
very high.
70% likely total. But
which brings us to the next topic, which is if it is a double game week, or even if it's not, Arsenal, most people are tripled up or will triple up or should triple up.
Yes.
Most people have double defense, and I'm not going to reopen the debate on Raya versus Timber. Everybody agrees Gabriel is the best pick. What about Saka? So what's your feeling on Saka's minutes and the random benching against Forest?
I mean, if we take Arteta at his word, which is a dangerous game, but who knows? He did say that Saka had a slight injury out against Forest, so it's entirely plausible that he was meant to start that game and was not ready. So actually, in terms of like Arteta's plan of when he was going to not play Saka, which will develop over time depending on,
Then he chucks out 90 minutes in Europe in a game that they've already confirmed
he's fine now.
Top 8.
He's feeling better. I don't know. So I think I still feel like I need more signal on him as this guy's only going to play 3/4 of the games or less before I actually take that as my baseline assumption. But yeah, we're certainly heading that way. Like we've had some signals that this guy isn't going to play 95 to 100% of the games, which is kind of what we want from him, ideally. If the double lands, it does land favourably in the sense that they're either side of an FA Cup game against Wigan. So people,
which
have
is
said,
what we are expecting.
Yeah. So actually, his double game week chances of playing both might be better than they might have been if it was like just a, weekend midweek. In which case you'd go, okay, I'll probably just captain Gabriel. Although actually on our current minutes, just got them on screen now, we are projecting Gabriel slightly higher than Saka for the double game week based on slightly reduced minutes for Saka now.
So sorry, this is it filtered? Yeah. Okay, so Gabriel is higher. Oh man, so I was kind of hoping I think Saka's like the best differential captain in 26 now. He's getting more differential.
They're next to each other. Like it's 10.9 and 10.6, 10.7. Like they're kind of the same. And if you believe that actually Saka is likely to play good minutes in both those games, then he will pop up ahead.
So what is our Saka minutes assumption at the moment?
So these ones we've got.
I just want to see do I agree with this belief?
77.
77 actually sounds right, man.
Yeah, so we've got like 92% to start, but half the time he doesn't make 90 in both games. So
it sound right.
Yeah. So but I think basically some of the arguments people were making before is that Saka is the best captain in 26, therefore you should get him even though he might like if he misses a 24 or 25, but you need him for this captaincy over 26.
But now you can just captain Gabriel.
I would say I think like we joked about it. People joked about it earlier in the season. Captaining Gabriel, I wouldn't captain him over Haaland, but if there's a double game week, I don't think he's much worse than Saka. If anything, the same or slightly better with the assured minutes. But then
he's defconning as well, right? So
it's very annoying. Don't know how he keeps defconning, but yeah, he's doing it. Saka did it a bit earlier on in the season.
Once.
He did it once, yes, but it was glorious. It was great. I very much enjoyed it.
It was.
So yes, I think also. I do just think Saka is really strong when he's on the pitch. Like, I still think he's really good. I still think, like, Gyökeres has taken a penalty over him, but Gyökeres isn't on the pitch all that much. He's often subbed off early. He's often not starting now. We've got Gabriel Jesus fit. Havertz will be back soon to maybe, rotate into those minutes. But I still think Saka's got some penalty shout. And, I mean, this is what we talked about before in terms of the budget being there. I've got the money to have Saka. Like, even let's say I have him for the next 6-7 weeks, and I say I think he's going to miss one of them. That's probably still good value, or pretty good value. It would be frustrating if he, I start him over someone who is actually quite good, and then he comes off the bench for 10 minutes.
Well, it's Rice, isn't it? It's Rice or a third Arsenal defender is what you're essentially giving up, and money. Like, if you don't have Saka, you have a lot of money. Maybe you spend it on Ekitike, and that's actually a bad thing apart from, instead of Thiago. But that's
leave
a different
him in the
argument.
bank, Also, depending on what your team is now, if I want to come off Saka, that's a transfer. So, is it worth a transfer to swap? If you don't have Saka, maybe you go, okay, I don't need to get to him. So I think my answer is different depending on whether I own Saka already or not. If I already have 2 or 3 Arsenal, I know for people who had Raya, Timber, Saka, or some triple Arsenal without Gabriel, then there's a big question of how do I get to Gabriel? Timber to Gabriel feels like a weird move, but might make sense. Or can I get Saka down and get to Gabriel? So I think swapping the 3 Arsenal around if you have 3 already, as long as it's not if I had Calafiori, Saliba, and Trossard or something, I'd probably go, okay, maybe I should swap them around, but. I don't know. Yeah, I've got Gabriel Saka Raya, and I don't see, other than there might be things that happen to sort of get away from Arsenal, but let's say Palmer. I don't know how Palmer would suddenly prove that he's fully fit and going to play all the time, having just missed this midweek. Yeah. But if you imagine that Palmer suddenly was, announced medically to be fine, and I want Palmer, and Raya gets injured. No, that wouldn't be the right way. But if I want Palmer and one of my other defenders gets injured, so Virgil or Lacroix or something, then Saka to Palmer and that player to Timber might make more sense because actually the other players involved allow it to work. So I think there'll be opportunities that might arise for some people. So if they can swap their Arsenal guys with another benefit, then that might make more sense. But I think in and of itself, I don't see a need for myself to be swapping them around.
Yeah, and Rice is the other one in this equation. And I'm genuinely thinking that if I was wildcarding now, I look at these numbers and I go, I have an alternative captain for 26. In these projections, I can see a benching. So there is, maybe it's reflected in the 70-odd minutes anyway.
Yeah.
But I'm just thinking with Rice, if he plays more minutes, then that average number is closer than what it is now, which is 0.6-ish per game. I can see people having an argument and saying, you know what, I'm going to have Saka, not Rice, not Saka. But let's leave it there. I think they're all good picks. And certainly I wanted to address the Saka thing where because of this FA Cup game in the middle of the double, it's not bad, actually. I think it's great. If the double does pan out that way, we don't know if that is the case, but if it does pan out that way, it's great for Timber's minutes, great for Saka's minutes. Hopefully, we don't know, but if we go by the FA Cup third round, those guys were rested, right? Saka was rested, Madueke played full 90 minutes. So if that pattern continues, I think he's a good shout and possibly even a captain in 26. That's where I think
he's not someone I'm looking to move on. I would sell him if, the opportunity comes up. I'm not saying he's nailed, and actually, I don't necessarily need him for double game week 26 captaincy, especially if we get another double coming in. Maybe you want to go for Newcastle defender, Malik Chow, captain him. But I think Gabriel is the one that if you don't have, you should be looking to try and figure out how to get to him. And everyone else is like, Rice is good, Timber's good, Raya's good. We'll disagree, but Raya is good. Even Saliba is like fine. Although Saliba's one that I'd move him to Gabriel.
He's never DEFCONs, no attacking threat. But of course,
you'd swap him to Gabriel. If you're short of trying, I wouldn't do it for a hit. I'd wait and try and find the next opportunity. But I think everyone else is just, they're good. Keep them. If Saka gets benched next week again, I might start to rethink that. But I don't think he.
Surely he misses the next midweek. Surely
he's not going to get rested against Man United, is he? He's gonna.
Yeah. So he plays Man United, misses the Champions League, plays in the Premier League again.
I think they're already guaranteed top 2, let alone top 2. 8.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what?
Exactly.
Which does that even affect the seeding? Is it not just first and second versus whoever?
It's first and
So it matters. We'll see.
All right, let's go to the next team, which is Chelsea. So Palmer is the question mark. You were looking to get Palmer last week, and then you were like, I tweeted, and Palmer is not in the squad, but he's not in the squad again tonight. Apparently he got some more muscular discomfort.
Yes.
We don't know what's going on with this, but
I was going to say he's saved himself the long trip to Stamford Bridge. I forgot they were at home. I was like, just
so Palmer Enzo feels like the Saka Rice thing. Except for Chelsea, it's not a triple up. You can actually have both, but it's again a question of, do you bother with Palmer? Use up a transfer? The upside is there, right?
I think this one's a lot closer for me. I think Saka to Rice doesn't really, people are calling it an upgrade, and I don't really see that as, Rice is very good. I'm not saying he's not a good player. But for this one, Palmer's minutes I have much more concern about, because he's actually playing through injuries rather than, Arteta's got some extra players and maybe he just doesn't want to play Saka all the time and that kind of thing. It's much more like, no, this guy has to lie down after the game and wince. And you go, is he all right? And also, if he doesn't play, then that actually makes Enzo better. Whereas Saka not playing doesn't really change Rice all that much. I guess he takes more of the corner. I don't know if he takes any of Saka's corners or anything. But if Palmer's not playing,
goes on
it's fairly likely that Enzo is playing further forward. He might play 10 anyway. He can play 10 and Palmer on the wing. So Enzo moves further forward when Palmer's not playing and inherits the penalties off him. So if I'm pessimistic about Palmer, that in effect makes me optimistic about Enzo. So actually, the downgrade to save the money, you also save more money, like he's 6.5, not 7 point whatever. But Enzo gets better the worse Palmer is, arguably. Chelsea don't. I think Chelsea would rather Palmer was fit. But I can see that one a lot more. I think more people have gone early on Enzo, and he does seem like he doesn't play all the time, but he is kind of energetic enough. The aerobic engine's there. He can play all the time. He has played. If he played all of the next rounds of games that were important and misses an FA Cup game, I wouldn't be surprised at all. I'm not expecting as my central estimation of he's going to play every important game, but I could make a reasonable bet that he should play a lot. Whereas, I think I'd do the opposite for Palmer. I think I would expect him to miss one somewhere. Whereas Saka, I think, maybe misses one, but I still think he should play most of them. What do you think? Is there anyone else you were looking at? Chalobah's quite high.
I've been looking at Chalobah. When I did the last minute Anderson move, I was the whole week I was planning to do Chalobah instead. But then there was these plans of Chelsea buying a centre-back, and I was like, can I trust Chelsea this early? I just don't know enough. So I was like, Anderson, I definitely know what I'll get, right? And he's a great fixture in game week 31, which is the blank. So I was like, just get him in. But I still need defenders because I also have Nico O'Reilly, who, doesn't look like he's starting every game anymore. I'd love him for Wolves, but I don't know if he starts. So if I was to make a defensive transfer, I think Chalobah would be pretty much up there because he's playing Crystal Palace away. But then Palace have their own problems at the moment. And then obviously he has that 4 beautiful fixtures. So I think it would be the 3 that are at the top of this list, essentially, if anybody's looking at Chelsea picks.
Yeah, I feel like, if João Pedro was playing repeatedly, then he's a good pick. And we're short of forwards in terms of potential assets. But he didn't play this week. I think he was on the bench and Delap's there. And
he's not a pick.
Mark Guiu is there, of course, as well in the mix as a striker. I'd be looking at Mark Guiu if you don't know. I'm joking. I do own Mark Guiu, but that wasn't part of the plan at all. I think if you are looking elsewhere, then Neto's minutes are actually been quite good. I thought he'd rest today and then play at the weekend. So actually his chances for the weekend might be a little bit lower because he did start today. But yeah, if you're like, actually, I want someone completely different, I think he's someone that actually does look good for minutes. Whereas I think Cucurella has been good and could be playing a bit further forward, but like he didn't play today. They've got Jarell Harto, who's great, but it's very good. Reece James, he came off injured today, I think. I don't know how injured he is.
Did he?
Yeah. Oh. Well, he came off at halftime. Quite a few halftime subs involving a keeper change as well. Jorgensen off for Sanchez. I don't know.
I missed all of that.
Yeah, okay. I think there was definitely some halftime subs where I saw them. If not, I'll cut that out. I don't know what I'm talking about. But yeah, I don't think there's really else. Chalobah's DEFCONs have actually been fairly strong. Whereas in previous years, he's another one where I guess historically, apart from this season, they haven't normally been that good. But like Gabriel sort of brought some on, and even some of the City defenders a little bit. I think Vardiol was doing a bit more DEFCONs.
Everyone is doing it apart from Van Dijk, who I own, has done nothing.
Very annoyingly. But Chalobah is doing what Van Dijk might have been doing.
I will break him. I will buy Chalobah and break him. You watch. His DEFCONs are going to disappear.
I think, again, for Chelsea, like the best entry point is probably next week rather than this week. But if you have a problem this week, that's kind of what I thought last week. Because actually, I was my top move last week that I thought I wanted to do was going to be Chalobah and Palmer in, and I bought neither of them because I thought actually there's a chance that I still want them in game week 24, and if I buy them then, I've not really lost out a huge amount. So I think if you can delay a week on buying one of them just to be sure, then that's probably worth it.
Jonny.
Okay. Well, generic advice, not advice.
I'm desperate for it. No, I'm joking. Let's quickly touch on.
They might get double game week announced potentially.
Exactly.
Some stuff in, but yeah,
I think they're good regardless of whether they get double game week. Those 4 fixtures are just too good.
I'd happily buy Enzo. I think of the lot, if I had to buy Enzo this week, I'd be like, okay, that's fine. I'm happy.
Yeah, agreed.
Everyone else would be like, we'll see.
Yeah, it's the potential pens of Palmer's 90 minus his expected minutes is also Enzo's gain, right? Yeah. So agree with you there. So
a pessimistic view of Enzo is still okay. Like I think if he does miss a game and plays 6 a lot of the time, then that's not terrible. It's just not what you tried to get for.
6. Caicedo is 6, so yeah. I mean, but yeah, it'll be the Bruno role, the other Bruno.
That's the one.
Or the other Fernandes. Sorry, I should say not the other Bruno.
Well, yeah, Mateus Fernandes for West Ham. Is that what you mean?
No, you know who it is. There's only one Bruno Fernandes.
Bruno Fernandes.
But talking of Man United, let me give a quick 2-minute view on Man United. Of course, because everybody wants to triple up now that we've had this fantastic performance. People are doing Foden to Bruno, even though Bruno's playing Arsenal.
To get off OB because you're stuck. Yeah,
exactly. Well, I can't triple up. Agreed. This is another reason why I need to wildcard. So, serious answer. I think Bruno's obvious. We don't need to spend time on him. I don't think he's a transfer in this week necessarily. Either you did it last week like Jonny did, or you do it next week like most will do. Pretty much from next week, he will have Foden's ownership from next week, because if people are not doing the move this week, they will next week. Then comes the question on who else, right? So quickly on Carrick's system, it's one game caveat. It could be just Man City specific, a lot of the things that they did, but essentially 4 at the back, which people have been crying out for, which means Menu's minutes go up a lot, because it'll be Menu who will play a lot with Casemiro, which means Bruno will play in the 10. Whether that's good or very good is up to you. But on the wings and up top is where there's a difference in the top 3, right? In this game, we saw Ahmad, Dorgu, and Mbumo, but I genuinely feel that was a Man City tactic. Against Arsenal, you probably see Cunha starting, you see Mbumo and maybe Dorgu. You could even see Sesko and Cunha and Mbumo. So the minutes for Mbumo, even though he looks good, are a little bit wider in terms of distribution, where maybe you see a couple of early subs. His positional share is also a little bit up in the air. He could play on the right, he could play up top. Still a good pick, but something to be wary of. Same for Ahmad. Ahmad could actually end up playing left back, because Carrick is known for being quite aggressive with one of the fullbacks and the other one stays back. So that is a possibility. It could be Dorgu who does that. So Dorgu's minutes, Ahmad's minutes, Cunha's minutes, Sesko's minutes are all up in the air. So I know these are not transfers in this week, but I just wanted to give that 1 minute overview on the Carrick Man United. Obviously, you wait and watch for Arsenal, and then you see what information you get. The appeal with them is they have definitely a fixture in Game Week 31. They only have Premier League to play for until the rest of the season, so you get fresh players with a good view of minutes, especially in Bruno's case and in Mbumo's case. And then you see where that goes. Fixtures are good from 24.
Yeah, I think Mbumo is definitely one I've been looking at in terms of a potential 24 transfer in. I think it was when I was looking back at the start of the season, and it was like, okay, Mbumo played every game until AFCON and subbed off twice. But he was kind of, there wasn't really anyone available to play his role in the same way, because the guy who might have done it would Ahmad, and they were playing Ahmad at right wing back. Whereas now, there are more bodies available to play this position. So even if you're quite sure of okay, I think the strongest lineup is XYZ, then there's just enough other alternatives that Carrick can change things up. If it doesn't work for a game, he does something else. So this is where the new manager comes in, and there's just uncertainty generally. Even if you go, okay, well, it makes sense for him to do this. It's you might have to try something else out. Do you think there's any chance that he does change from the system that he played in general? I know you might change the personnel, but is
just the personnel. I don't think the system is changing, and I think Casemiro, Menu, and Bruno are probably the highest X-Mins, because that's just how much he loves Menu, and when Menu plays, then that locks in the other 2 guys because they need to play around Menu. So it's the top 3 where there's a little bit more question mark, because what is different from Amorim's system is Ahmad was not competing with that top 3 because he was playing right wing back.
Sure.
Now he is competing with them. So you have Sesko, you have Cunha, you have Mbumo and Ahmad, 4 people for 3 positions. Arguably Mount as well, but unlikely that Mount starts. We even see Dorgu competing in that position, but I think that will be sort of an anomaly for Man City rather than anything else. Dorgu may play left back. So that's where we are. So we will see. But nobody's buying Casemiro or Menu this week anyway. So I just wanted to touch upon it. We can revisit it after we learn more against Arsenal.
Yeah. And I guess some people have Dorgu. So I guess as long as you can bench him this week, then it is another one where you go, okay, I might as well bench him and see and reassess next week. Rather than going, oops, I sold Man United's left winger who's a defender and costs 4.3. You'd rather just do that a week later if he gets benched and turns out that it was a Man City thing. But I don't know. I don't think we have any Casemiro owners to give advice to, but maybe one to watch. Did seem to keep scoring at one point, so I don't know.
He's no Caicedo, man.
He does a lot of DEFCONs. I don't know. We need to find the next Caicedo, and it could be Casemiro. So I'm just going to say that so that I look smart if he does anything, and if not, no one will remember.
And you can clip it.
Exactly. No one will remember otherwise.
In the business. Let's go to Man City quickly.
Red card.
As the last thing, because Man City is giving people a lot of headache, especially this week, because now they've lost 2 games in a row. People are putting out their predicted lineups without Haaland, without Foden, without Even Nico O'Reilly. There was this Telegraph article today where in the predicted team, they've basically said only Gehi, Semenyo, Bernardo Silva, who missed the game, Donnarumma, and Doku, who missed the game midweek. These are the only 5 guys who are probably likely to start. And then it's anyone's guess who the other 6 are. So that's a little bit worrying for somebody who has a triple City against Wolves. Thoughts?
Maybe they're just bored and they just need to write something.
That's true. That's true.
Straight away, disinterested. Yes, I think I do think Gehi looks quite good. I think his DEFCON's going to drop moving from Palace to City, obviously, and a lot of his goal threat was from set pieces, which City don't do as much. They don't do long throws unless Semenyo starts taking them. So if you are looking for a defender, then I don't think he's a bad shout. I think he just should play all of them. In terms of buying, I don't know if everyone's buying City right now. But yeah, I think Semenyo should play because he didn't play. He's not Champions League eligible yet. I think they can register him for the knockout stuff. But league stage they can't register him. So he should be fine for this one and the next one probably. But yeah, I mean the popular guys are Haaland, Foden, Cherki, O'Reilly. Really, I don't think anyone has too many other players. So Haaland, I mean, who's he going to play up front? Is he going to go straight in with Marmoush up front? Do you think he's going to do that against Wolves?
I don't think so, but yeah. I'm just saying it's out there.
Panic.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think he plays Haaland. I don't think that's a big question. We might get.
You're not even debating captaincy, for example. I'm not saying we should just not captain Haaland the Wolves.
I think I need.
What would be your contingency if there's a leak 15 minutes before that he's not starting?
I'd bench him.
Bench him and captain who?
Gabriel. Maybe. Don't know.
Against the mighty Carrick's Reds?
Yeah. Who else have I got? Thiago against Forest. Well, I mean, if I hear
maybe we'll pick it up when we get to our teams.
Yes.
Because we'll see who's the highest, second highest.
Foden would be one if I knew that he was starting. If they're both not starting, then I don't know. But presumably one of them will start. Well, I don't know.
We likely don't even hear anything. We didn't even get leaks last game week when it was like
they were the early
12:45 game.
Yeah,
exactly.
So
this is all wishful thinking.
I'm just planning to just play them. I think the upside, like the downside of benching or selling one of them and then them playing is quite high. Like Wolves are not a great team. The get to points for a start is pretty high. And the upside of me, either they come on and you get them for 20, 30 minutes against Wolves, which is not what you wanted, but it's not awful. You wouldn't buy someone if you knew that they weren't starting. But if they don't start and they come on, then, well, take the L. Or they score and it's fine. And you go, whatever. Like, I meant to do that. Like people who played Cunha last week and he didn't start and came on and scored. So, and if they don't play at all, then I get an auto sub, and it didn't matter what I was doing. So, yeah, I think Cherki and O'Reilly are ones I'd be less sure about. I do think Cherki might be more likely to start than Foden of the two, but no one really plays the Foden. Like there isn't another Foden, whereas they can play without Cherki, and so far he hasn't wanted to play without this 8-10 hybrid Foden. But yeah, I think Cherki O'Reilly subbing on is just not good. Like if he doesn't play and then comes on for 20 minutes, that's not good. But an attacker coming on is not who I want to captain, but also not the end of the world. So I'm not putting too much thought into it. I think if they don't play Wolves, then okay, that's a problem. I need to move them on. If Haaland doesn't play,
this is the thing.
If Haaland doesn't play, I don't know what I do because
Haaland
what
will
are people
probably
doing?
keep because he's
but if Foden doesn't play, I just sell him. He's not great for the period after that. If he's not going to be playing some games, then there's other mids I want to move to. But I don't know what I'd do with Cherki. O'Reilly, I'd probably just move on unless I've got
to Chalobah. See now where I'm coming from.
Yeah. Oh, I wasn't disagreeing with that. I don't know. I don't know what I'd do. I think I'm just hoping they start and taking the decision out of it and going, well, I'll play them and just put up with it if they don't play. What about you? What do you think? Was that any of that wrong?
Look, this was
I can't
not a
read
prediction
Pep.
because nobody can read him. But sometimes he gives stuff in the press conference. So I'm very curious. And the distribution of minutes is very wide for these guys, the popular picks from Man City this week. Because Semenyo is definitely going to start. And it looks like Doku could very well start as well. Because, again, he didn't start midweek. Then you have Bernardo Silva could start as well. So you start to narrow down who then is left to actually between Foden, Cherki and Haaland.
Yeah.
They can't all start.
They could.
It is looking bleak.
No Rodri. He did it in the Champions League final one time.
Yeah, Nico Riley could start as DM again. That's what he did midweek.
I don't think he'll do that. I didn't think he'd do Nori at right back.
I am worried.
Yeah.
As somebody who was burnt with triple Liverpool, home to Burnley, getting 4 points, I'm a little scared. Triple City against Wolves at home, we'll see how many points we get. But there's nothing we can say about this. We can only talk about uncertainty, but not actually give an opinion because nobody knows. So that's just where we are.
You're welcome, everyone. There we go. There's your advice.
Yeah. If you came here for answers, well, you look somewhere
else. To be fair, I think my answer is just that if they don't play, I think other people care more than I do, so I'm going to watch them lose their heads rather than lose my own head. If they don't play, fine, whatever. That's funny.
Watch Jonny sell Haaland 5 minutes before deadline. Guys.
Yes. I can't even think of another forward I'd buy.
Ekitike, of course.
I don't want Ekitike.
He's second highest projected points this week.
Is he?
In strikers.
Okay, let's have a look. Now we're here. Nope. Thiago.
It's Thiago. That's minimal.
Yeah. All right, I'll buy Bowen or Raul or why not buy Mateta? Krupi Jr. Haaland to Krupi Jr.
You got Mateta from Aston Villa.
Or
Juventus.
I'll do Haaland to Krupi Jr. and have 20 million in the bank. Perfect.
Surely Mane.
Both. I'll do Thiago to Mane.
Why not both?
Or Guiu to Mane.
Okay, we have digressed a lot.
Yes.
Let's go to Wildcard now.
Oh, yes.
And it's going to be quick because we did talk about the fact that it's good to wait for information next week.
Yep.
And I think for most people, it's a case of can you just stumble across this week and get to 24, right? But others may say, you know what? My team is horrible. And I would love to see what a Wildcard 23 looks like. So what does it look like?
Yes. So I've built out, I built a few branches for us. So I've built out some of the double game week branches. So I've got a branch for, there's 5 branches basically. I've got 4 of them for the different potential final pairs that we'd have in the Carabao Cup. And I've also done Arsenal City are the final, but Wolves Arsenal goes later rather than earlier.
All right.
So I've weighted the Wolves Arsenal 26 one a bit higher, and the Wolves Arsenal 33 one a bit lower, and then I've got one for a Man City Chelsea final. So that would be Man City Palace and Everton
all
Chelsea
happening later.
Move out of 31. Actually, if I just click on it, excuse me, and show you the fixtures, then I've just moved them to later.
Yeah.
I've also moved a bit the 34 ones around just to sort of play about and see what it does. That would be a Newcastle Arsenal final. So Wolves Arsenal comes forward and Newcastle Sunderland move later. These ones aren't blanks. And there's a very small chance that Newcastle and Chelsea both overturn the deficits. And we have Wolves Arsenal and Man City Palace day in 31. And the other ones move later. I suppose they could come forward. But essentially just a wild card given that some of those things might happen. And we've got Raya, best Arsenal asset. We've got Gabriel, we've got Tarkowski, we've got Dan Ballard. So you might want to go for Mukiele, fairly similar.
Double Sunderland defense. Excellent.
No, Brentford. Nathan Collins.
Oh, sorry. I
right.
see Collins.
Like a very similar shirt. He might have signed for Sunderland, maybe. Not that rumour now. We've got Bruno Fernandes, who I think makes sense. So I've solved this with your team value. And also, so you have one transfer this week. If you had more, you might start without Bruno and buy him next week. And put in, I don't know, Semenyo? Not sure.
Semenyo is a good shout for this week.
We've got Foden in there, but could be any City asset if you don't think Foden's going to start. Daka as well. Illiman and Di is back. They also play on Monday, so he's got a bit more time to recover from Senegal's celebrations. I think he should play, but maybe Moyes will tell us on on Friday. Although in the last conference,
they need him as well because Grealish is out now for 3 months, right?
The last time I read a Moyes press conference, he said something like, "We have a timeline for the injury, but I'm not telling you," was the quote. Right. And I thought, well, thank you, David. Anyway, I think Ndiaye looks really good if he comes back. He's definitely one I've got an eye on for later. But you can start with him. And then we've got Elliot Anderson, Mr. 4-5 pointer. Haaland, captain obviously. Areola as the backup goalkeeper. Senesi, Krupa Jr. and Calvert-Lewin in there as well. So there's
Calvert-Lewin, look at that.
There are no Wolves players. I think it buys some of them in 26, but you don't need them. What I also did is I did the equivalent one, but I put let's say Wolves Arsenal does land in 26. If that happens, I want to bench boost because I think the case for bench boosting early, if you wildcard early, is quite strong because we've got a few cheap strikers who are playing now. So Krupa Jr. looks set to be playing for a period until Kluivert and Tavernier are back. So Tavernier might not be too long. Kluivert, I think, might still be a little while. But he looks good for the upcoming fixtures. In 26, Bournemouth play Everton away. Not great, but it's okay. And then we'd also have a boost for your second goalkeeper. They'd have a double game week if you start with Jose Sarr. Tolu or Mane look quite good as another forward. So actually, I think because you're only going to have the free hit to help navigate blank game week 31, double game week 33, blank game week 34, potential double game week 36. If you can get to that period where you're able to use your bench to navigate those and save transfers to focus on getting through them rather than needing to go at some point in here I need to optimize a full 15. You go, okay, I need to optimize 11. Then I think bringing the bench boost forward to allow you to either have a dead spot or to have a squad that rotates better makes a lot of sense in terms of going, okay, I need to get through blank, double. Might just be blank, double, blank. We don't know. So I think if I was wildcarding early, I'd definitely try and bench boost early. So this one would have Raya, Jose Sarr, Chalobah, Gabriel, Tarkowski, Joachim Anderson. So same midfield 5, Bruno, Foden, Saka, and Ndiaye, Anderson. Haaland, Senesi, Krupa Jr. and Tolu. I guess could be Mane.
I'm surprised at the lack of Chelsea here.
Yeah, I think...
well, there's Chalobah, but that's it.
Yes, yeah. And he wasn't even in the other one. I don't think we even had any Chelsea. Skip them all entirely. And it doesn't buy them in 24 or 25. I guess it's partly because I guess you would be I haven't put a free hit in 31, which you might do, or 34. So it's like just starting with a robust team without them, and you can buy them with transfers if you want to, depending on... Because, I mean, they might have this nice run of fixtures, but then blank in 31, and actually none of the assets are that good, and you just go, okay, I'll just go without them. But it gets to quite a nice bench boost. You get to Jose Sarr, Senesi, Krupi, and Anderson against City's not so good, but...
I would probably, if I this is obviously not Solio recommended,
yes,
I would probably have Enzo instead of Foden.
Yes.
Which would give me then double Chelsea. And then that would give me extra money to get maybe even a Thiago instead of the Calvert-Lewins that you had, or have an even better fifth defender like Daniel Munoz if he's fit, or maybe a better midfielder for Anderson. You could get... So, who could you get? Rice. So, actually, no, Saka's already here. So, anyway, like you could do stuff with that and maybe bring Anderson up.
I think it's kind of
another one more
it's player. Like a structure to build from. I think actually doing a few little quick swaps like that isn't going to change your projected points too much. I think people get too focused on like, this is the answer.
The best one.
I must pick this team. Whereas actually, like, if you're hot on Morgan Rogers, I'm sure you can put him in here and it's not going to like mess the whole thing up. So,
but yeah, is all right for next week.
Yeah,
especially people dead ending to 31.
So yeah, I think I probably would go for the Jose Sarr, Tolu on my team to try and aim at bench boost 26 and almost bail out if I need to, rather than picking a sort of... I mean, it's a very similar team. It's got Calvert-Lewin and Areola and a few swaps, but
yeah,
okay, fairly similar.
we can, I mean, for most people, this is only a question if, they get news Foden isn't starting, then they have Bruno Guimaraes in their team and maybe even Keane left over, a couple of non-playing players, and then it becomes a little bit of a question mark, which could be me on Friday. But so far, I've made it through. I mean, we'll see. I don't intend to, but you never know.
We'll see.
Let's go to our teams. Yep.
So your team's already here.
Excellent.
Yeah, I solved the wild card on your team. I've got my team has a whole host of trees that I've made. I don't know what I was doing. So
okay, mine is.
I went to a nice clean team, and I thought I'll solve it over here. This is your team.
This is my team. O'Reilly's minutes look bad. His EV should have been a lot higher, but obviously there's uncertainty in his start. Everyone has double Arsenal defense, so nothing there. Van Dijk keeps a clean sheet tonight. Gets DEFCON tonight. Of course,
what a guy!
He does.
He got DEFCON.
What a guy! He got DEFCON
in the Champions League.
Szoboszlai scores. Ekitike did very well. So I might roll out my triple Liverpool, although I am tempted to play Alderete over Szoboszlai. Just because I think Salah is looking good for a start, so penalty share should be down to 0 or whatever minutes Salah misses, which I don't think it's going to be many.
Yep.
So I'm just thinking Alderete has a little bit more upside in terms of DEFCON, clean sheet. Szoboszlai could score a free kick or a cross or a goal like he did tonight.
Could do anything.
But I just fancy. So I'm going to roll out a Christmas tree formation, Alderete instead of Szoboszlai. So I'll have O'Reilly, Gabriel, Anderson, Van Dijk, and then Foden, Saka, Enzo, Ekitike, Haaland. Actually, the front five look all right. It's the back five where I have not a lot of faith in. But then this is a kind of week where if you look at Rob T's numbers, only one team has over 40% clean sheet odds, and only one team has over 2 XG, or 2 expected goals. So it's one of those weeks where maybe teams don't look that great, but maybe you don't need to do too much to fix it.
I feel like we're actually going to see quite a few weeks like that where, there's just all the goals are going down. We're just getting sort of flatter games. I think Ted Knutson put a tweet out. He quoted my team value tweet.
Which is understood as transfer budget.
I'm not sure if he meant that, but basically the fact that sort of the weaker teams are getting closer to the big spending smarter teams, and actually we just get more even games with fewer goals slightly, and actually that makes the scoring a bit weird. And we've kind of seen it this season where just there's not a huge amount of points, there's not loads of clean sheets, there's not loads of goals. If we didn't have DEFCONs, then probably wouldn't have any points at all. So I think 5 at the back looks fine. I mean, they're all projecting O'Reilly, if he starts, would be over 4. They're all 4+. That's nothing to be sniffed at.
We discuss this every week, and then Jonny, everyone who I don't have, we always say I have the top 5.
Yeah.
The bottom 6, they just are not delivering. I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to sulk though. But let me just, on my team, just to say,
what are you going to do?
O'Reilly, if he's a doubt, and if I think he's not starting, then Chalobah could come in. And if Foden is a doubt, then I would not go Bruno. I would go Indai. And then the week after, I would go Szoboszlai to Bruno. That would be the...
So sort of an extra transfer switcheroo.
Correct.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. I think, Bruno's really good, but you don't need him right now. Might as well get the benefit. Right, so O'Reilly would be Chalobah.
Could be, yes.
Chalobah. That looks nice.
Right. I think Chalobah he's playable. Gabriel is fine. Alderete actually has another good fixture after this, Burnley at home.
Yes.
Anderson is just always good. So then it feels like maybe I don't need to wildcard if I do this, right? Because then next week I can do Foden to Bruno and it doesn't look that bad. Although I still hate Szoboszlai, but it's not the end of the world.
You can sell him.
Yeah.
As well. Take a hit, don't know. Yeah. Captaincy.
Of course we can take a hit.
Haaland.
Haaland.
Vice captaincy. Very important this week. People are talking about it.
I probably will go Ekitike,
Yeah? Not Saka, not Gabriel, not Enzo, Chalobah.
I just think in terms of ownership, right? I mean, if I'm thinking in my own small mind of ownership against the engaged managers, people who have lost points too, I think Bournemouth are there for the taking. They've been defensively not so great. They've got a lot of injuries. And maybe it's one of those fallacies, whatever it's called, where Ekitike can't keep blanking. It can't
There's
go on
no
like
way.
this.
He's
It
due.
can.
He'll score now.
That meme.
Yes, but not Foden. I think Foden's got enough minutes doubts.
I don't trust the minutes. Like,
No.
even if he starts, does he play 70, 80 minutes? I don't trust it. So definitely not Foden. It's probably going to be Saka, to be honest.
Raya?
If it's not Ekitike.
Assured minutes from Raya. Can we go there? He's not very good.
6-pointer, lock it in.
Perfect, that'll do me. Yeah. And then any plans for next week? Or is this would be new kit and wildcard?
Definitely Bruno coming in for Foden.
Yeah. I mean, it looks
or
good.
Or Szoboszlai, depending on what I do.
Yes.
I have the money, so...
This looks good. Yeah.
Ideally, I would make 3 moves. I would do Chalobah, Bruno, and then do Szoboszlai to Ndai as well. And then I'm happy. But then this will need a hit.
Yeah, you might as well just wait another week and do it. Do it here.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, team looks good otherwise. Oh, City, Virgil against City.
Let's say it looks
Alderete.
okay.
Who knows? Yes. Well, fair enough. That's good. Right, I'll bring my team up. Where am I? This one. My team? Oh, that's a solved team. We don't want that. That's a wild card. There's my team. There it is. Yes. Raya, Mukiele, Virgil, Gabriel, Foden, Bruno, Szoboszlai, Saka, Anderson, Haaland, Thiago, Bravka, Alderete, Lacroix, and Mark Yu. So I also have Alderete first bench and want to bring him on, but I don't really know who for because I've got quite a few. I think my initial plan was actually that Bruno was going to not have such good projected points and was going to get benched. But if he's playing 10, then I don't think I can really do that against Arsenal, even if it's Arsenal.
I mean, I'd do Szoboszlai. I mean, same decision as me, to be honest.
Yeah. So Szoboszlai, probably, maybe. I suppose Anderson is, just 4 points, but maybe not anything more. So, but I quite like it because I can double up with my Sunderland defence, which is quite nice to have double Arsenal and double Sunderland. So I probably would, play bench Szoboszlai. But... yeah, I think because even then, I've got the same thing. If I got Foden not playing, I'll just play Szoboszlai. I can quite happily bench the City guy.
Would you not tempted to go and die as well? Because he's a good transfer in this week.
Yeah, I think actually if I ran the solver, the top suggested move is to I'll just reset the lineup. Is to do Szoboszlai to Ndiaye.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought.
Yeah, but I don't know. It's I could just do it next week. And actually, so I'd have Ndiaye over Szoboszlai. Yeah, so that would be the same if I benched Foden. Or if I sold Foden and benched Szoboszlai. But I don't necessarily know where I want to go with these transfers. And Ndiaye over Szoboszlai is it's projecting 0.7 difference. I don't think that, to me, that's low enough that I can just go, I'll just take that on the head this week and have 5 transfers next week. I've got 4 already. So I think getting to 5 next week is something that I'm quite keen on. And then deciding then. So yes, I think if I'm I'm short players, and Di is a guy who I really like and would happily buy. But I imagine that I'll probably just line up like this. I mean, if Foden's not benched, then there's no need to buy him here. So I imagine with no leak, no news, nothing on Fridays suggesting that Foden is definitely benched, then I'll roll that out and have 5 next week and decide where to go and decide if I want to get Palmer, decide if I want to sell Foden, decide if I want to sell Szoboszlai. Probably do want to sell Szoboszlai, but, who for? Is it Ndiaye? Is it Enzo? Is it Rodgers? Is it... who knows? All sorts of possibilities. So I think I've kind of just...
or wildcard with 5 free transfers in hand. That would be
nice.
Nice.
Maybe. Yeah. I think... don't know. I'm quite keen on getting to 31 with 5 free transfers and then deciding whether to free hit or wildcard at that point. Because if I free hit 31 and then bench boost 33 and then wildcard 34, then I've got 5 transfers to help manage that around. Because I can free hit with 5 transfers now. So I think getting to between 26 and 27 is the FA Cup 4th round. So that's our next set of info. Apart from this potential early double game week, obviously, which we should get news next week of a provisional one, and then after game week 25, we'll get the cup itself, and then we'll find out say, which one doubles in 26 or no one, and we'll know the blank for 31. But 26 to 27, I suppose if all the big teams go through and they don't draw each other, then we don't learn too much. But we might get a few upsets, might get a few confirmed 34 fixtures, can start doing some chip planning. So I'm just basically looking to get to there with all of my transfers intact. So I'll have to do some next week. But yeah, Haaland captain. I think this is why, if I think Foden's a minutes issue and Saka's a minutes issue, like Gabriel is my third highest after that. I think he might get the vice captain. Just for fun, and assume Haaland's playing anyway. I don't know. Not too much to do.
The thing is, if Haaland misses, he's going to come on anyway. So this is all theoretical.
You never know. So yes, I'm going to roll from 4 to 5 transfers and do nothing. That's the plan.
Excellent. All right. Well, this has been a slightly longer one, but I did miss last week, and we had lots of decisions to make. But hopefully, if you enjoyed listening to this, you do have a couple of days to catch it. Then please do like the video, subscribe to the channel, go join and look at our new features. The new features will be out by the time people listen to this, right?
They might not 100% be within a week.
Okay, soon.
I'd say at the latest it'll be like early midweek next week.
Check out your blobs from next week. Then you're comfortable looking at the blobs, because next week actually big decisions need to be made. A lot of big decisions. Even if you're not wildcarding, you need to be thinking about where to go with your transfers. If Palmer coming in and many other things. And obviously,
trying to save my brain space for that. Some people have the luxury
of 5 free transfers. Some of us will be taking a hit. We are not the same. But tune in next week to see what we will be doing. Yeah. Thank you for supporting us. Any last words, Jonny?
I think we'll both have headaches next week. They'll just be very different sorts. I'll be trying to work out what 5 moves do I do, and how do I get away without doing a hit is your one. But
is it -8 or -4?
Let's see. We'll find out. Good luck, everyone, and see you next week.
Excellent. See you next week.